Jim Crow laws. In 1863, slavery to the black Americans was abolished, and 5 years later, changes were made to the United States Constitution, stating that black people had the right to freedom, and by law were to be treated the same as whites. It is only now that black Americans are allowed to vote. With all these new rights, white Americans did not want the blacks to be treated the same as their superior color. And this is how we see the Jim Crow laws come about, as they still wanted separation between races. The Jim Crow laws were the laws the United States of America put into place between 1876 and 1956. They forced the segregation of races in public places. In 1890, they were declared to be separate but equal to the African Americans. However, this was not so much the case, as white Americans were seen much superior. This means they had advantages in education, economic, and of course socially. The African American race were looked down on by white communities, and this led to job discrimination, and banks would not lend them money as of their color. Jim Crow law meant the segregation between races in public places was so extreme that separate drinking fountains and restaurants were allocated for the African Americans. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a significant step in the abolishment of Jim Crow's law. It barred discrimination on the basis of race in public areas such as schools, libraries, and hospitals. It prohibited businesses and unions from discriminatory actions, but did not give them the right to vote. The final devastation to Jim Crow's law happened in 1965, where African Americans were now given the right to vote. Jim Crow had lost the supporters of federal government in all aspects, and segregation and discrimination was no more. Remnants of the Jim Crow laws still exist in the USA, particularly in the southern states where Jim Crow was vigorously applied. However, we can see both races of the United States becoming closer to equal, as President Obama is the first African American president.